Jeanie Buss says Anthony Davis wasn't happy. I'll read you the quote. We have lost the last 3 years in a row to the Denver Nuggets in the playoffs. And we really didn't have anything that was going to look different going into the playoffs again. Anthony Davis was complaining about where he was being played, and he wasn't happy. So I think this was a positive for both teams. They got what they were looking for. We got what we were looking for. Is that shots fired at Anthony Davis? Am I reading too into this, or does it feel like Jeanie Buss just took some shots over at Anthony Davis? Let me set this up here real quick. I'm sure the front office wasn't happy about a week before AD got traded. I'm sure the front office wasn't crazy about Anthony Davis doing a sit-down interview with Shams on ESPN and saying that he thinks the Lakers are better with another big. Go get another big. That's basically what Anthony Davis was telling to the front office. And he was doing that. If he was doing that with Shams on ESPN, who knows what he was doing behind the scenes, trying to push for, we won a championship with this model. I played the four. You had Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee that were the centers of this team. And then, listen, that doesn't mean Lakers were just going to win a championship just like that. There was, there was a really good team. There's a really good roster. It was 5 years ago. It was Rondo was on the squad. LeBron was 5 years younger. Alex Caruso was there. Avery Bradley, KCP. I mean, go down the list of all the players that the Lakers had. They had Kyle Kuzma. They had a really good squad. So, but put that to the side for a quick second. I'm sure the front office was not happy when Anthony Davis went public and basically said, get me a damn big. Trade deadline's coming up. This was leading up to the trade deadline. You had people like me, and I'm sure many other people out there as well, saying, Rob, go, even if you have to overpay, make sure Anthony Davis is happy. I mean, nobody thought in their right mind Anthony Davis was actually going to get traded, let alone get traded for Luka Doncic. I mean, it makes no sense, and it will never make any sense. But nobody thought AD was going to get traded. Everybody just assumed AD's the future of the Los Angeles Lakers. Everything's going to run through Anthony Davis. Eventually, LeBron's not going to be here, and they're going to go spend that money on another star to pair up with Anthony Davis. I'm sure the front office was saying to themselves, did this guy just go on public television and tell everybody that, first off, it's not going to help Rob Pelinka's negotiations, even though everybody knew AD wanted to play with another big, but it's certainly not going to help him in any negotiation, knowing that that's how Anthony Davis felt. That's what AD wanted. And he goes and tells Shams about it. But when I read this quote from Jeanie, we have lost the last 3 years in a row to Denver in the playoffs. We really didn't have anything that was going to look different going into the playoffs again. Anthony Davis was complaining about where he was being played, and he wasn't happy. So I think this was a positive for both teams. They got what they were looking for. We got what we were looking for. I don't think she needs to justify anything. I don't think there's anything to justify. And I don't think she needs to say Anthony Davis was complaining, he wasn't happy, so this was a positive for both teams. I don't think many people thought Anthony Davis was wrong in what he was requesting. I think a lot of Laker fans were sitting back and saying, guys, this was the model that helped you win a championship. Let's go back to that model. I mean, the Lakers have been basically looking for a big the last couple of years. I mean, think about all the names that have been rumored around the Lakers for the last couple of years. Just this year, it was guys like Miles Turner. It was guys like, I know there's a different class of big men. Nick Claxton. It was Jonas Valanciunas. It was Jakob Poeltl. Lakers were kind of just doing anything they can. Or at least people were throwing names everywhere, just kind of saying like, hey, you got to get Anthony Davis another big. I don't know if I agree with Jeanie on this. I don't think Jeanie needs to justify anything because I don't think there's anything to justify. There's nothing to justify. If Jeanie simply says, when you get a chance to get your hands on an international superstar who's just 25 years old at the time and has got a chance to be the face of the franchise for the next 10 years, when you got a chance to or more than that, whatever the case is, when you got a chance to do that, then you have to move heaven and earth to get that player. And one of the players that we value so much on this franchise and this organization is Anthony Davis. And we had to move Anthony Davis to do that. And everybody knows how good Anthony Davis is. But we got a chance to get Luka. And whatever the price of doing business is, we had to do it. And they did it. I don't know if I agree with GD. Yes, maybe Anthony Davis was complaining. Maybe Anthony Davis wasn't happy that he wasn't playing with another big. Maybe that is the case. But I don't think she's got to tell us that. And I don't think that's something that needs to come out public. And I've told you guys this. I'm a big fan of Jeanie. I'm a big fan of how she's tried to fill in the shoes of the greatest owner in the history of sports. I've had personal interaction with Jeanie Buss. I got a lot of respect for Jeanie Buss. She's been very respectful. Even when I was on air at 710, obviously all the Lakers stuff that I was doing. And even since I left there, I've had communication with her, and she's just a pro's pro, and she's phenomenal. But when I saw this quote, I'm like, no, am I reading this wrong? And I just don't think it's necessary. It's almost, and it's not the same comp at all. And I don't want to make it sound like it is the same comp. But I think one of the things that's made the Dallas Mavericks look so bad in the process of all this, that they traded Luka, is some of the stuff that they said after Luka was gone. It's like, yeah, but you know what? We're trying to build a certain culture. And the articles that have come out about, his weight and what they feel like the next 5 years potentially are going to be. They obviously don't want to invest in him because they don't believe in him, whatever the case is. But that's part of the reason why the Mavs have looked so bad, is because when they made the trade, they didn't just say, we really think Anthony Davis is going to get us over the top to win a championship, period. And it's going to be on our backs to prove that. Our goal is to win a championship. And we think we have a 3-year window to win a championship, a better shot at winning a championship with AD than we did with Luka. And then we'll just let this thing play out. And if we're right, we're right. And if we're wrong, we're wrong. And if that's all they said, then at least you're like, all right, well, whether you agree with it or disagree with it, you kind of have a little bit of justification for it. But that's one of the quotes that I got from, that's one of the quotes that I took from it. And listen, right now, if you type in Jeanie Buss, this is kind of everywhere. Jeanie Buss takes, this is in the New York Post. Jeanie Buss takes surprising, complaining dig at Anthony Davis after blockbuster Luka trade. On NPR's Morning Edition, they go into the detail. Anthony Davis was complaining. They got what they were looking for. We got what we were looking for. And I didn't realize it was going to be international news like it was. But that's the power of the Lakers brand and its ability to draw big names who want to write their own chapter in Lakers history. I guess at the end of the day, and I haven't looked at the comments, so I'm going to look at the comments here in just a second. At the end of the day, for me, I don't think there's anything anybody from the Lakers have to say to justify the trade. Nothing. There's nothing to justify. We got a chance to get an international superstar who has not even entered his prime, won't even reach his prime for a couple of years. And we got to lose one of the best big men in the league in Anthony Davis. That's the price of doing business, and that's why we did it. God bless Anthony Davis. He was amazing. Got us an NBA championship, and I got nothing but love for him. That's it. There was another quote. By the way, the piece, too, about Lakers needed a new piece after losing to the Nuggets in the playoffs the last 3 years, 2 years, right? I think it was 2 years. They lost to the Nuggets before then, too. We know what's happened the last 2 years, so we understand what's happened to the Lakers in the playoff matchups against the Nuggets. Nuggets have completely dominated them. But is anybody saying that's because of AD? Not because of AD. But the idea of making a change because of that, I'm okay with that. But guys, this also fell kind of in their hands here, because I don't think anybody thought Luka was going to be available. I don't think obviously, I don't think anybody from the Lakers thought Nico was going to be available until Nico Harrison made him available. All right, let's take a look at some of the comments here. Let's take a look at some of the comments here. I'm actually curious. I'm curious if people are going to have. I'm curious if people are going to agree maybe more with Jeanie, or if there's going to be a little bit of maybe some sympathy towards Anthony Davis. It's like, all right, well, we don't need to really do that. All right, let's see what we got here. Professor, thank you for the chat here, buddy. AD doesn't realize the NBA has moved on from a Twin Towers model. He is a 5 in today's NBA. The Lakers are proving that in real time. But let me stop you here for a second. Because if AD didn't realize that, how come every single Laker fan out there was also asking for another big with Anthony Davis? I don't think this necessarily is the model has moved on. Let me give you guys some examples here. The Bucks still use Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Jokic is a real 5, so that's a little bit different. But it's Jokic and Aaron Gordon, so you can't really compare that one. I don't think that's a good comp. And I know there aren't that many great centers in the NBA. I think for Anthony Davis, it was more, let me just be able to kind of balance this as we need it. Yeah, there's going to be times where I'm going to play the 5. I know that, but there's going to be times where I think it's better for me to play the 4. Okay. This is a little bit of my stance here. Here's Dub T. I think Jeanie cheapens her position by justifying the Luka. There's nothing to justify. Everybody knows why the Lakers pulled the trigger instantly, or maybe it took a little bit of time because they had to work out the details. There's nothing to justify. You got Luka, and again, maybe Jeanie wasn't trying to make it come off this way, or maybe she was. I have no idea. I really don't. And I'm. This is just an assumption here, but it came off as taking a shot at AD, and I just don't think that's necessary. I don't think the Lakers got to play in that game. I don't think they have to do that at all. And oh, by the way, let's kind of think about Anthony Davis here for a second. AD helped you win an NBA championship. Was a very, very, very important piece to winning a championship. And I think most Laker fans, they got nothing but love for Anthony Davis. Let's take a look at a couple more of the comments here. More professional to leave it alone. Okay, so maybe I'm not crazy here. Maybe that's where but here's the one thing that I will tell you. Jeanie is a pros pro. Jeanie's not looking, A, she's not looking for the attention, and B, she's not looking to take any shots at anybody. That's not Jeanie Buss. That's why I'm a little bit like, that's why those quotes confuse me a little bit. I'm like, was she trying to say something different, or was she making a direct, hey, AD, you wanted to go play for another big, go play with another big. You got bigs over there in Dallas. You got what you were looking for. We got what we were looking for. Well, I don't know if the Lakers were looking for Luka Doncic. I think Luka kind of just ended up at the front door. Let's take a look at some more of these. 2020 chip with AD at the 4. And I know the game is always changing. I know it's always evolving, but that is the model of how the Lakers won that championship. And like I said from the beginning, they had so many good players. No need to pile on AD. He served his purpose. All right, let's get another one. Gigi didn't need to do that because what AD said was true. Okay, a little bit more of my point there too. Worst trade ever? Yes. AD wanted to play the 4, but LeBron was better at the 4. I'll tell you this. the Lakers roster has been flawed for a while. So I don't think anybody's, really questioning that. It has been flawed for a while. And and nobody's saying that the Lakers front office has been perfect or any of that stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's impossible not to look at that model that the Lakers had, and it's impossible when one of the best players on your team is saying, "This is what I need." And I'm sure he did that behind the scenes for a long time, and it didn't happen. And then was like, "Hey, trade deadline's coming up in a week. I'm gonna freaking just tell this to Shams with my sit-down interview." And then AD was gone. AD was gone right after that. All right, let's take a look at a couple more of these comments. Yeah, I thought this would be a good conversation. Right when I saw some of those quotes in my head, I thought it would be interesting. Felix, Jeanie wasn't taking a shot at AD. She just used the wrong verbiage. The word complain is what everybody's keying on. Yeah, but I don't think AD ever wanted out of LA. I think AD was just trying to find a solution to winning with the roster that they had. Was there any indication to you that Anthony Davis didn't want to be a Los Angeles Laker? Not to me. And again, I make the trade 100 out of 100 times. Nobody's here justifying anything for Anthony Davis and saying they should have kept AD. It was just, I don't think the Lakers need to do anything to justify why they did the deal. All right, if you enjoyed this clip and you want more, just subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. is the Sliwa Show. And then after every Lakers game, post-game show right here.